think I have 8:30. So we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. This is the Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting on June 12th, and we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Councilmember Sundberg, are you good with those? Thumbs up. Okay, very good. We will move on to our first item, which is the housing UDO audit. And who's doing that?
That is me,
Janine.
Chair Bergan, Janine Rusted, Director of Planning and Business Development. As you recall, last month you approved us moving forward with what we were calling a housing UDO audit. I'm going to change that name to analysis because who likes an audit with the bean counters coming in? This is about creativity. So staff has been busy compiling some background material. I included in the backup just a preliminary overview of what was accomplished in the UDO in 2016, 2019, which did allow additional types of small lots. I noted at a meeting yesterday, and I'll get into that in a bit, that some of the housing types that were permitted in the UDO, such as cottage housing, co-housing, we're not seeing those really being built. So one of the questions to the development community is why? Is there not a market for that? Do we need to do something more in the UDO? Because these are smaller types and different types of housing. So part of another thing we've been doing is when we held an internal multi-department meeting was we decided having some goals for this project was important. So those will be brought to you formally next month, but just as an overview, what we're talking about is encouraging the production of more housing. We're being very deliberate in our terminology. We're not going to use attainable or affordable because those have specific definitions, both in the profession, but in state law. Attainable is in Prop 123 with part of the goals we have to use. They define that. So what we are talking about really is creating a diverse housing stock that's accessible to a broad income range. Hopefully out of that, we are looking at Prop 123. We're hoping that some of this work will help us meet these goals. What I told developers, though, is that any deed restrictions, that is a voluntary program. We are not, and I'll look to you both for head nods, we're not looking for any way of mandating that. We can bring that out as, here's an option, but we don't want the development community up in arms. We want them coming along with us and helping us find solutions. Another goal, and we discussed this last month, is increasing density while maintaining livability. And we're working with the development community to talk about how that balance is achieved. Another thing we talked about is quantifying the impact that changes we make may have on the cost of housing. And yesterday we held our first roundtable to go over with the scope of work and these goals. It was with a smaller subset of future roundtables. And the developers brought up, it's not just what we do, but what we require. So if we require additional street connectivity, what does that cost? To make sure we're really achieving the goals, and they will help us with this work. At that roundtable, we talked about timeline, and I said that our target, and after the discussion, after we fleshed out that scope of work, which I will bring the updated version next month, that what we were initially looking at is this phase 1 project, completing that hopefully by this fall. And phase 1, what we're envisioning is we would have a table of solutions. The first part, Tier 1, is the low-hanging fruit, which are things we can do with staff resources. It'll probably also include things that we have to do to comply with the recent state legislature that passed, our next agenda topic. Have a middle phase that will probably need some outside help, whether that's through consultants to help us draft code. We're good at what we do in interpreting code. We can draft some minor amendments, but if it gets complex, we really want the experts. The developers are offering to help with some of that, But again, we want to make sure that when we amend a section over here that we catch all the tendrils, because zoning codes, wherever you go, there's interrelation between sections. And then finally, a third tier could be things that need additional research. We've promised the development community that while we'll create a timeline because they think we're being aggressive, which is always good to hear that we're being aggressive versus you're not moving fast enough, that we'll adjust it. And at some point that tier 1 could split off and we'll start on those amendments. So I'm going to pause to see if there's questions.
Any questions, Councilmember Sundberg?
Not yet. I'm tracking you.
Okay.
Great.
I was just going to say, I was part of that meeting with the roundtable and I thought it was very productive. So thank you.
Thank you. And one thing in the agenda that I had submitted or given to the community and our internal folks ahead of time, I had staff listed on one side, and then I very intentionally used the word partners. When I came in, one of the things I don't like is an us versus them attitude. We all, start with the assumption we all want to create a better Aurora where people can afford to buy a house or rent a house or an apartment. So looking at this, that we're working together. July is I think it's July 10th is our next roundtable. I should know that. That's my dad's birthday. I'll be in trouble if I forget. Which will be a larger group, and we'll start to go over some of our background research on number of permits, the type of UDO adjustments we've seen for housing. We're starting to outline areas of the code that we as staff think are ripe or ready for amendments. And then we're asking, and the development community, a few partners there have started to work together to go through the UDO and point out some areas where they think are ready for improvement. So hopefully by our next meeting, I'll have the agenda tightened up for that meeting. It's one of the outcomes that the partners recommended is coming out of that, identifying potentially buckets or tiers and have breakout groups that will go and help us with research and work. So that is my update.
Oh, I think you're muted.
Yeah,
Chair.
I know.
Sorry.
It wasn't
Oh.
listening to me. Thank you so much. That was great presentation. And I think we're off to a really good start on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
And next on our agenda is the land use, the fun stuff, the land use legislation.
So Janine Rustad again, we had a presentation, I think it was 2 months ago, on land use legislation that was moving through the legislature. Now that that's wrapped up and bills have been signed by the governor, we have 4 bills that are going to impact the UDO. So these are rolling up into that analysis. We're coordinating with some of these on housing and community services to see how these get implemented. And of course, we are working with our esteemed legal counsel, Lena McClellan, so she can jump in at any time if I get anything wrong. The first one is HB 241152. This is accessory dwelling units or ADUs. As you may be aware, we allow them currently in original Aurora. Now we will be required to allow them throughout the state. Again, this is just very early on where we're working with Lena to flesh out what can we do, what can't we do. And we need to have any UDO amendments and our first report due by June 30 next year, which really in the scheme of things of making amendments and reporting is really quick. Questions on ADUs?
Councilmember Sundberg, do you have a question?
I don't think so. Are we seeing requests for them in Aurora that much?
Actually, Windler, we had a meeting with them a week and a half ago, and this is one of the things they are interested in. And I think it may have been about a year ago, we did an adjustment on one of their site plans to allow them.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So this would allow it in any established neighborhood, right?
Yes, and they're, whether it's internal to the unit, say converting a garage external, I believe there is square footage, smaller municipalities are allowed to permit ADUs that are smaller than 500 square feet or larger than 800 square feet. So it's really a broad range.
Why would it, that makes no sense.
Yeah,
What's in between? What's between 500 and 800? You don't get permitted?
I think in between might be that they're required, but we can go beyond
Oh, you
what is
can go
required
beyond.
by state statute. I'm just reading the summary.
Okay.
I will say, because this is something when I was in Oregon, we were tracking because there was a lot of changes and they did not see a lot of them. Now, Portland did, but Portland
Yeah.
is very different. Portland is more to Denver. Beaverton, where I worked, is more to Aurora. But
Right.
Portland incentivized them. You know, they waived all impact fees and matters like that.
So, question on metro districts that are currently established, because like Windler, it makes sense that they would incorporate them into their master plan and people then choose to move into, you know, a home, single family home that has the ADU. But in established neighborhoods, do the metro districts, maybe this is for the attorney, have any recourse to not allow them? Or HOAs?
Lena, are you on? And if she's not,
I am on. I am. Good morning, everyone. Lena McClelland, Assistant City Attorney, works with the Planning Department. So I am pulling up the language right now. Just give me 1 second. My computer is being very slow. If I remember correctly, Janine, and if you have it pulled up, you can let me know if I'm imagining this or not. But I believe it has the language at the end of the bill that prohibits HOAs from disallowing ADUs.
Yeah.
and I think we can look into this more because it might, you know, the question for me is it going forward? So a new HOA, but as you're pointing out, where you have an existing HOA where people have bought, you know, some
Right.
CCNRs will prohibit them. Did it invalidate?
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess
Yeah,
so access to the ADU doesn't have to be an alley. It can just be in your backyard.
Correct.
Yes, that's correct. And let's see where
I'm looking forward to all the complaints that when they happen. We can move on, Lena. Whenever you can always email me if you find out some more on that.
Yeah, so what it says, actually I pulled it up right now.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
So in a subject jurisdiction or in a supportive jurisdiction, you can't have a provision, declaration, bylaw, or rule of an association that is adopted on or after the effective date that restricts accessory dwelling units.
Okay.
So on or after June 30, 2025.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, and if you have, sorry, I'll just say one more thing. If you have something from before, they can still restrict as what does it say? You can't restrict even if it was from before. Sorry, that's what I was
Right.
reading that.
Okay. Thank you.
Something we will watch to see how that plays out.
Yes.
Next one that we had opposed was House Bill 24-1304. This is the minimum parking requirements. At first, it was a ban on all minimum parking requirements. It was slightly watered down that it applies only to multifamily residential projects within a quarter radius of transit centers. That's bus rapid transit, light rail, and bus routes planned for every 30 minutes or more. So that does impact us. So we'll need to look at that and prepare some UDO amendments. The effective date of that as well is June 30, 2025. And even if we don't get our UDO amendments done by that time, we will be prohibited from enforcing those. Questions on parking?
I'm
Okay.
just happy. I'm happy they watered it down.
Yes. And from the development community, what they say is to get their financing, they do need some amount of parking. So this will be one to watch and see how it plays out. The next one, House Bill 24-1313, Housing and Transit Oriented Communities. This one, the team, as well as Liz, followed very closely. The good news is we think we meet or are very close to meeting the requirements. The question we need to do a little more analysis is to see if we would have to do rezoning around any of our stations. As you know, rezoning, single family, upzoning that is never a fun thing. So we will try to avoid as much as possible and see how we can look at multifamily. But it is another analysis we have to do. And it requires progress reports every 3 years. So again, more reporting requirements for local jurisdictions. Questions? All right.
Real quick.
Oh.
So whatever we have currently, does that count towards that?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
And as this was moving forward, we were held up as a poster child that we're doing good work. Of course, we were still opposed because this is infringing upon our local control and placing more burdens on jurisdictions. The last one, and one we're having conversations around, again, multi-departmental, House Bill 24-1007. This prohibits residential occupancy limits. I think it's one of the shortest bills I've ever read. But the only occupancy limits basically can be per a building code. So again, a multi-department effort to look at. It has an effective date of July 1 of this year. So housing and community services impacted, it will require amendments to the UDO, our definitions, our permitted use tables at the least. So those are the 4 bills that we also will be addressing. Any questions?
Councilmember Sundberg?
No questions. Thank you.
So just on this last one, again, established master plan Metro District communities are going to, this is going to be a problem, just because you're going to have someone that puts in X amount of people into a home. I have some right now with group homes and sober living, which are allowed by law. And this just opens up a can of worms for much more of that, which creates parking problems and other issues. And so again, probably ward council members are going to hear from constituents once it starts ramping up. But thank you for the update.
Thank you. And of course, we will be back in the future with UDO amendments to comply.
Right. Okay. And then next we have Visit Aurora annual update, Bruce Dalton.
All right, good morning, Councilmember Bergan, committee members, city staff, and PED committee attendees. Do we have the presentation?
Kathy or Chris?
I could pull it up, Bruce. Give me just a moment.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I've decided not to show videos, knowing that we've had some problems showing videos through WebEx. But we have a lot of great video content online if anyone is interested in watching some of our videos.
We're on Teams now, though it might work, but
Another time.
yes.
Anyway, I'm very happy to be here this morning presenting to you. As many of you, or most of you know, I'm Bruce Dalton, CEO of Visit Aurora, and I've been with the organization now over 7 years. I'm very proud of our organization, the team that we've built, and how we represent Aurora. Our team knows that we're the underdog compared to our bigger and better known neighbors to the west, and we like it that way. Every one of our team members is proud to promote the city of Aurora. Our board of directors in the city of Aurora provides us with great support, and we thank them for that. Next slide. So given the time that I have today, I've condensed my presentation from our annual marketing plan presented to the city, but if anyone would like any additional information, I'll be happy to provide it to you, or additional information on what I discussed today. I will also not be diving deep into the tourism analytics today, but if you're a data geek and we have plenty of data to share. We share a lot of that data with the city finance team to help develop budget strategies on tourism and lodgers tax collection. Next slide. So our mission and vision, the mission and vision that you see here was established 3 years ago through the direction of our board of directors and MMGY Global, one of the top consulting and marketing agencies in the world. We're currently working with our board of directors and a new consultant Mission to Market to create a new 3-year strategic plan, which we will put in place in September 2024 at our Visit Aurora Board of Directors workshop. And our future plan is to work with the board of directors in the city of Aurora to create a master tourism plan for the city of Aurora. Next slide. So budget overview. Visit Aurora is funded through a combination of the lodgers tax, destination marketing improvement fee, private funds through membership dues. Visit Aurora receives approximately 25% of the generated lodgers tax annually and is paid 2 years arrears, which means in 2024 budget comes from the 2022 lodgers tax collection. And all funding for Visit Aurora receives from the city of Aurora is generated by people staying in our hotels. The annual destination marketing improvement fee, which was established in 2018, is estimated to generate approximately $2.7 million in 2024. And in 2019, which was the first year we collected the destination marketing improvement fee, our budget at Visit Aurora grew to $4.9 million. But through COVID and the shutdown of the tourism industry in 2020, we laid off 38% of our staff. We shut down all of our marketing efforts, but as a result of that, we were able to save approximately $2.5 million, which was put into our reserves. And in 2021, we started to recover, but maintained our lower staffing levels. And in 2022, we collected only $313,000 in lodgers tax collection from the city. And through the DMIF funds and reserves, we were able to maintain a budget of $3.9 million. This year's $5.5 million budget includes $130,000 in remaining Colorado tourism grant funds and utilizing reserves to help expand our local festival and events department. And back in 2019, at the request of the council, Visit Aurora participated in a full City of Aurora internal audit and no findings were reported. Next slide. So this slide is listed as economic growth, which really focuses on our convention sales process. And as I like to say, our convention sales team generates the revenue and our marketing team spends it. Our convention sales team are our frontline soldiers working with our hotels and partners to fill our hotels and to generate revenue. Last month, the city exhibited at the ICSC trade show in Vegas, and I know a lot of you on the call were at that show and found how hard it is to work trade shows, but also how fun it can be. And as an example, in 2023, our convention sales team participated in over 30 different trade shows and events throughout the year, including IMEX America, which is the largest industry trade show attended by 40,000 people each year. And many of these shows, like ICSC, are full-day events that run well into the evening to earn business for the city of Aurora. Our efforts are really paying off, though. This year's C-Event, which is the largest distributor of group business opportunities in the world, recognized Aurora as number 28 on the top 50 meeting destinations in North America. We're now higher ranked than Anaheim, California, Fort Worth, Minneapolis, Indianapolis, Salt Lake City, and Kansas City. And by the way, Orlando was #1 on the list and Denver was #8. And out of our hotel bookings, 200 bookings that we produced and 190,000 room nights that we produced in 2023, about 50% of those rooms were booked at the Gaylord and about 12% were booked at the Hyatt Regency Aurora. The Gaylord Rockies can host a meeting for more than 7,000 people. And one of the largest meetings this last year was the Air Force Association, which was a huge success with great support from Buckley Space Force Base. We work with a number of local and regional organizations to support bringing groups to Aurora. One of the recent ones we're working on with the Hyatt is bringing the Colorado Brewers Guild to Aurora. For the first time ever, they're looking at January of 2025 for this event. Visit Aurora has taken over the beer tour from the library this year, and we've been working with the breweries on rebranding the beer tour as the Aurora Brew Through, and the program will launch in July. So we're really excited about the Brewers Guild actually being here and working with our brewers in Aurora. Next slide. So marketing and promotion. In 2023, we launched a complete rebrand with the help of MMGY Global, and we surveyed over 1,500 people, including residents, business owners, elected officials, city leaders, to develop our new campaign, which is Our Story, Our Way. Last year, we also went through a formal RFP to select our new agency of record, Madden Media. They negotiate all of our media buys, both group and leisure, and they do a great job for us. Some of our marketing programs include our Gateway to the Rockies podcast. To date, we've interviewed 57 different individuals and people around Aurora, and we've had over 75,000 downloads to that podcast. One of our other campaigns is Meet Your Neighbor, where we focus on local businesses and promoting them through our social media outlets. Aurora celebrates businesses and the stories that they have in Aurora. Our Home for the Holidays campaign promoting Christmas in Aurora received over 100,000 page views on our website. And we did a Ronald McDonald House Radiothon, helping them raise over $150,000. We redesigned our website in 2023. We produced 175,000 visitor guides and mailed 100,000 guides to local residents. And as I mentioned earlier, we also received a grant from the Colorado Tourism Office, $400,000 in total, to reestablish our marketing presence through meetings, events on a national level. Next slide. So strategic partners, we have a great relationships with all of our local business and community leaders, such as the Aurora Chamber of Commerce, AEDC, the Havana Bid, Community College of Aurora, ACAD, Sister Cities, and more. And some of these relationships are how we build and create and promote our stories in Aurora. And as you know, we were awarded the Aurora Chamber of Commerce Business of the Year for 2023. Also, it was just announced that our very own Alexis Watts, our Director of Marketing for Visit Aurora, has been recognized by the Denver Business Journal as one of the 2024 Outstanding Women in Business. Next slide. So we are very, very excited about our newest event, which is our Aurora Borealis Festival, which will happen November 1st through the 3rd at Aurora Highlands Winged Melody Park. We've been working on this project for about the last 18 months with Bruce Early and Creative Strategies Group. Bruce has over 35 years of experience producing major festivals throughout the country, and we're very well positioned to produce a great inaugural event and still have 5 months planning ahead to do it. We're working with a company called Eddy Sound, which is a laser lighting company out of Colorado Springs. They're going to create the Borealis effect with laser and fog like you see in this picture. The Borealis show will happen each evening and can last actually throughout the evening, over 3 hours. We're also planning choreographed music laser light shows that will go in between the Borealis effect. The light shows will happen in the evening, but all day long there will be family fun activities as well as a global gift bazaar, flavors of Aurora food court, and art installations. We already have a great list of sponsors, including ABC, Denver 7, Westward, Comcast, Wagner Construction, Children's Hospital of Colorado, DAVA, Aurora Highlands on Havana Street, White Development Group, Stanley Marketplace, Champ Automotive, Gaylord Rockies, Stonebridge Hospitalities, and many more we've been in touch with and negotiating with at this point in time. But if you have anybody that you might know that might be interested and benefit by being involved with the Aurora Borealis Festival, please have them reach out to me directly. And, some of you might have heard about the Outside Festival, which happened a few weeks ago in Denver. This festival was supported by more than $440,000 from the state of Colorado, Outside Magazine, and Visit Denver. Tickets for that event were $60 to get in the gate, and they had about 17,500 people attend the festival. The Aurora Borealis Festival is free to attend for a small parking fee, but you can enjoy all the activities of the Borealis Festival. The Borealis Festival is designed to be financially self-sustaining through Visit Aurora, private sponsorships, vendor fees, beverage sales, and our mission is to create a nationally recognized attraction that's affordable for our residents and is representative of the combination of cultures here in Aurora. We placed a priority on hiring vendors and talent and bring additional economic impact to Aurora. The Aurora Borealis website will be launched in the next couple of weeks, and you'll start to see media coverage, marketing, and influencers promoting the event. That was a mouthful. Next slide, please. Well, again, I thank you so very much for allowing me to present today. I appreciate your time and happy to answer any questions. And that
Thank
is
you,
a big
Bruce.
picture.
Oh, thanks, Bruce. Any questions, Councilmember Sundberg or Mayor Kaufman? I'll start with Sundberg.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Bruce. I've heard some of your big ideas in the past. I know you're enthusiastic about bringing some big things that that may not conflict with the Gaylord around Christmas, and so excited to see this. You've all heard me say that Aurora used to be labeling itself as Sports Town USA. We used to market ourselves deliberately that way. And I know you didn't mention sports, and Françoise brought that up to me in a text. But the fireworks tournament's coming up. What is that, about $35 million impact to our city, Bruce?
Yes, I sent you some information on that yesterday, and it is our biggest event, and Triple Crown Sports is our biggest client at the Gaylord, as well as the rest of our hotels around town. So very important client and very important part of the landscape and the business of Aurora.
I did look over the presentation you sent me, the data. I'm not a data geek, but I was super impressed with the geofencing in almost like from outer space looking down on Earth to the city of Aurora. You see the lights of where these people travel, right? All around our city and the hot spots. So I found that fascinating, how we can actually track their spending, their travel. So this is a little bit off topic because Brooke Bell is not here, but I believe Laura Perry is on here, and she's the link to so many things. So Laura, I would love to see Parks and Recreation be able to work with Visit Aurora in sharing data back and forth as it relates to sports, as we can maximize the tourism. My little business for decades has benefited from sports tourism in Aurora. And 25 years ago, I just really felt like Aurora was my business partner. And of course, not to get too far off topic, but I ran for city council in self-defense. 4 or 5 years ago, Aurora City Council was becoming a threat to my business. But we have to be aligned with, that's my why, guys. That's my why as to where I ran for city council and some other things. But let's not miss out on this incredible opportunity of sports tourism. And we need to link up with Bruce and his magnificent team and Laura's magnificent team to share data and really maximize these opportunities.
Councilmember, if I can comment, I just want to reiterate that, put an exclamation point on that. I have the esteemed honor to serve on the Visit Aurora board. So
okay.
I am able to bring back information discussed, obviously with Bruce, with the pros team, and we have a lot of communication on that front. And also we actually did our own market assessment on, opportunities of where sports programming is, what events folks are attending. And so are regularly looking at that, certainly with the goal of marketing what we're offering to enhance our tourism destination and all the great things that we offer.
Excellent. And just kind of a final point, a lot of things work together to make this happen and make Aurora an attractive place. We have our beautification efforts. We don't want our people driving down 225 and it just looks bad, the trash and the debris along the side of the roads. And so there's a deliberate effort there I'm appreciative of. And of course, crime. We have to have a safe city when these people visit, and their cars should be safe in parking lots and so forth. So a lot of things need to come together in this effort.
Mayor Kaufman, did you have a comment or question?
Yeah, it's kind of a question and a concern about the Visit Aurora and the city working together, and I think we are. But can somebody give me a definition of what the city does versus what Visit Aurora does? Because I know I think the restaurant guide is that's a city event. I mean, I think that comes out of the comp department. So can somebody give me a definition?
I'm happy to do that, Mayor. Hi. So City of Aurora Communications, our marketing program consists of one person, and our focus has always been on our diversity and the unique things that we have that would bring people here from the metro area. Visit Aurora was established to really reach beyond and bring people in, the visitors, to our destination. And so destination development, which is on Bruce's radar. This event would be something that would bring people from beyond our boundaries. So our focus has really been, we focus on realtors because we want them to sell Aurora. Hi, Sunny. We've worked together pretty extensively. A little stalled during COVID. We focus on, again, Aurora Eats. We've been doing that since the 90s. It's had many rebirths and refreshes. We're working on something right now to create a better mapping tool. And so our focus is really about what would bring people from the metropolitan area here and where they would pick Aurora as their home. We also work with large employers, the aerospace industry, the healthcare industry, so that those people will consider us as a place they come here to work, but we want them to also call it home. So I can get you more detail, but those in simple terms are some of the differences. They really align together, but there are unique audiences and focuses with some overlap. Bruce, would you add anything to that?
Kim, I think that was a great explanation. I think it's important to know that the people that are on our board of directors are people, community leaders throughout Aurora, including Southlands, the Havana Business District, the Chamber of Commerce, Laura Perry and Kim from the City of Aurora, as well as many others. And so we have a great partnership, and I think we extend the mission and the goals of what the city communication department provides in a very efficient and effective way.
Thank you.
I'll just, I'm actually glad that Councilmember Sundberg brought up the baseball tournaments, because I know that's been a huge asset for us. And I have, since probably when I got on council 2016, have advocated to have another sports park. I actually found something in my cleaning out my closet, a big poster board from one of the workshops where I wanted us to look at sports park too. So I know Laura and your team, you're looking at whether that's feasible for us to do in the future, but I think that would even bring us even more tourism as well. So I appreciate the presentation, Bruce. You guys do a great job. Kim, did you say you have one employee to do all the marketing?
Yes, one marketing staff.
Well, that's not sufficient. I'll just throw that out there publicly.
Well, it's
We're
really
a big city, 400,000 people.
Yeah, we have a robust media and PR team because we do a lot with media and response and crisis communications. And I'd be glad to visit with council at any time about the details of that. But that's where we currently sit in our staffing. So that's why we work with Visit Aurora to leverage presence of Aurora out there. There's no staff member who wouldn't want more staff, but we always have to look at city priorities and city resources. So we're very mindful of that. Always happy to take council direction. I did want to just mention for the benefit of the group, if they didn't know, we were named Sportstown USA by Sports Illustrated in the early
Wow.
2000s. That's where the designation came from. So just thought that would be an added point you might want to keep in your pocket.
Do we have a copy of that?
I don't know, pros might.
Yeah, that'd be great to see. Huh, did not know
And
that.
if I could comment, in pro specifically, we do have a communication and marketing person and a couple of folks that do also engage in that work for pros.
Good point. Thank you. Yeah, I just meant citywide communications marketing.
And Bruce, you said that the event is in November?
November 1st through the 3rd. I mean, we're going to share a great deal more information with the council and with the city. And once we launch the new website, which should happen in the next week, I think you'll see a lot more information. And just, not to really just focus on the fact that creating a new event is an enormous challenge and task. And we're excited about it. We can't be, more proud of the work that's been put into the program to this point, but I think that it's going to make not only the leadership of Aurora, but the citizens of Aurora very proud. And I think it's going to be something that can be recognized nationally as that doesn't happen anywhere else in the United States. So really cool stuff.
All right, well, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate the presentation and everyone's comments. So we'll move on to our miscellaneous part of the meeting. And I think we have a report from Yuri from Aurora Economic Development Council. Are you there, Yuri? Hello.
I'm here. Good morning. I'm up.
Good morning.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, committee chair, committee members. Nice to see you all. So yeah, I just wanted to, it's been a few months since I've had the opportunity. I've been on a couple business trips and during PED and a couple other things have come up. So I've missed a few, unfortunately, but just wanted a quick update, sort of mid-year perspective on where we are activity wise, trend wise. We're doing well. We've closed 6 deals so far this year, which is a little low, but compared to especially the last couple of years. But there's a lot of hesitation in the market to make kind of make decisions and pull the triggers, as some of you heard at our last board meeting. And so we're looking forward to a robust Q3 with some good deals landing. And so we'll be right in the mix. Inquiries are really high, even though transaction activity is a little low. Inquiries are high. There's been, a lot of construction over the last 18 months that has not been absorbed as fast as it might have been over the last, 5 or 6 years. So we're, cautious about, that and where the market is. There's certainly been a lot of changes in the last 18 months, macro wide, right, with capital rates and money and macro economy and where everything stands. But we've been talking to a lot of good people, a lot of good companies. We've had 8 site visits so far this year, which is pretty on par. We've tracked about another 10 or 11 broker visits. We differentiate between broker visits because those usually come first. They kind of tour the market, see everything. And then a site visit with us is different because that means we've already made kind of the short list and people are really digging into demographics and taxes and development timelines and all of that. So we've had a good number of those. Excuse me, I'm getting over a little cold. We've attended, as usual, Space Symposium, and the Tech Day at the Capitol is actually a new event for us to support the Colorado Technology Association, especially with our work in that realm this year. The Biotech Annual Conference that we were at, and as I mentioned, a couple of business trips to other markets to promote Aurora. In terms of development, we're seeing some great construction activity. The Galen Nursing School is coming up. QTS is built. The Intermountain facility is built that Councilmember Sundberg was at the groundbreaking of about a year ago, or maybe it was earlier last spring. So that was a good construction time frame for them to be up at the corner of I-70 and E-470 as people drive by there. E-470 is obviously under construction to expand going north towards the Gaylord. We're still in process to get the skiff out of the ground. We've been talking about that for a little while. West of Buckley, east of Buckley, excuse me. There's actually another project west of Buckley that's trying to develop another skiff, which is great for us. We need more of them as much as we can get. And then we've got an opportunity to 10 home buyers warranty, which is headquartered in Aurora, was just acquired by a national firm out of Memphis. And that's an opportunity for us to maybe repurpose that office building. It's right actually near our office building off of, it's behind the ILIF light rail station. It's right next door to it. So you can see it from 225. And so that office building has some opportunity to become something else now that that company's been acquired. We're not sure of their plans yet, but we're talking to that. We've been talking to them all the time through that process. The Orica campus, the former Orica campus out in unincorporated Arapahoe County, which we help support, of course, as well, and promote unincorporated Arapahoe County portions. We are seeing some good activity there. It's been under contract several times, but nobody's been able to close on it yet. We've got a couple of good leads out there to see what can happen there out by the Lowry Ranch. There are some new ownership groups developers coming into Aurora. I can't reveal which properties are being purchased, but there's some big ones, there's some big names, and it'll be a refresh of some stagnant development concepts that will be refreshed later this year. So we're excited about that. In total, that'll be about 600 acres of new of developers that are coming out of Florida. So we've been talking to Florida developers actually for a number of years through the pandemic, because there's a lot of interest from capital there to invest in Colorado, and Aurora's on their radar. This group has other assets in Colorado, downtown, up north, down south. So Aurora made sense for them to kind of come into. So more on that later. We had a great meeting with the Gateway folks in an office prospect for the 40th Avenue light rail station. So right there at 40th and Pena, that's 17 acres right there by the light rail station. That's really prime to be kind of master plan as a mixed use. It's right next to that the housing project that just went up, those 1,000 units or so. So had a great conversation. We'll see where that goes. We our still intent is to work with the planning department and perhaps even so both Janine and Laura on an advanced manufacturing overlay to kind of, as we've talked about with council before, we're really fine tuning what the market needs for that. And then we're going to come back to the city and work those details out. So we're working on that initiative. We're in partnership with the city of Aurora, a great partner for the Hub for Health campaign. It's on our email banners. If you've seen my emails from me, that's a great campaign that's nationwide. It's getting hundreds of thousands of hits in media and social and a lot of other channels that are beyond my expertise. Kim could probably speak to it more. And maybe we come back to this committee later this year to give a little update on the leads and what that's provided us. But it's been great impact so far, because life sciences obviously is growing fast and still demanding a lot of venture capital, and Fitzsimmons needs all the help we can give it. And then we have good news from the legislative session. I know that was a topic earlier. And it's unusual sometimes to hear that, but we helped the film tax credit get passed for a second time, and that just dedicated more money to that industry. We've had several prospects come to us saying, "Hey, we want to maybe build a film studio, sound stage, support the industry here." We actually have a lot of people that work in the industry, but then that travel outside of the state to do that. And kudos and thanks to Mayor Kaufman for encouraging us to pursue that a couple of years ago. We went out to Atlanta, as I think I've said here before, to really drive that home. And a couple of years later, we were successful. So hopefully that'll bring us some more prospects. And then obviously supporting the city's venue study, as we were talking about tourism, that seemed appropriate to mention that we're supporting Laura in that effort, and more to come on that, and excited about that. And then we've got some unique industrial product types coming online with more yard space and smaller footprints. We're not seeing the 500,000 square foot behemoths anymore in terms of industrial, whether it's a logistics related company or a manufacturing related company. They want 100,000 square feet. They want 150. They want 50,000 square feet sometimes. So we've got some developers coming out of the ground, hopefully by the end of this year, maybe early this year, with some of those product types that the city's been great and supportive of getting us with. And I think that's that's a lot. So I'll stop there, and I appreciate the opportunity to give a little update.
All right, thank you, Yuri. Councilmember Sundberg, do you have any questions for him?
Thanks, Yuri. Wow, there's a lot going on. I think we're blessed as a city to have the ability to grow and have this dynamic industry and diverse industry come to our city. I know just tomorrow we have, let's see, that Westway skiff is opening within Aurora. I don't think
Yes, they're having that's actually their second open house. Yes, that is all complete, and they've got their CO. We're really excited about that.
Groundbreaking of Food Bank of the Rockies over at Majestic is happening. Chance would probably tell us there's a Shamrock food store open to the public on Havana on Friday. So lots going on, and thanks for all you do.
Thanks, sir.
And thank you. I did have one question. You said inquiries are high, transactions a little bit slower. Is that just the way people are kind of waiting on what's going on with the economy and the market?
Yeah, that's nothing to really point to specifically to what's going on in the metro area or Aurora specifically, but just on a nationwide scale, people are just taking their time. I hate to point to an election year being, using that as an excuse, but it is, and so people are really looking at what the Fed's doing and what's going to happen with the federal administration, whether the federal funding for the CHIPS and IRA and all of those kind of manufacturing efforts are going to continue or not. Infrastructure, right? All of that is so companies a lot of companies are hanging tight for that reason. Another reason is just because there have been some different consumer trends and different supply chains that have, we caught up from the pandemic and maybe overstocked some places. And so there's a lot of just back and forth. There was actually a company that reached out to us in Aurora that said, hey, we have too much space and we need to consolidate our lease and looking for sublease. So that's happening. And so that's just a factor of the times.
Yeah, and when we were in DC, I know we asked questions about the CHIPS Act. Any updates on that at all, or just
which act? I'm sorry.
The CHIPS.
The CHIPS Act? No, not to my knowledge. I can follow up with you though, certainly, and make sure we're staying on top of that. But I haven't heard.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for all your good work. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay. I don't think there are any other reports unless somebody is on that wants to give a report from our different organizations. Okay, not hearing any. Great. Well, wonderful meeting. I appreciate everyone's attendance.
May I ask a question? Chair,
yes, sorry.
I'm sorry to hold us up. If you don't mind, going back probably to Janine and probably to Laura, regarding the UDO efforts, the first thing that we heard today when we're encouraging the production of more housing and diverse housing stock, and we have our phases and our tiers. When did you say that we are hoping to complete that?
Right now, we are saying phase 1 will be probably this fall, being able to come back with solutions. Again, the developers said this was very aggressive. So as we move forward with our partners, we will continue to update that timeline. We will update you monthly on the progress. And what you may see, as I mentioned, is that low-hanging fruit. Those may peel off, and we'll proceed with that while we proceed with a more detailed analysis and research. Because if there's easy things we can do, we want to get it done.
So we can make a few little low-hanging fruit changes in the process as we're moving forward.
Yes, yes.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So our next meeting is July 10th. So we will see you then. Enjoy the summer, and we'll see you July 10th.